ask me if, which is the biggest problem the world is facing right now? Is it really a nuclear warfare? Is it really a nuclear war that could be so fatal to mankind? Just look at the statistics. You have 34 million people in the world who are living with AIDS. And HIV/AIDS has led to the death of 30 million of them. The issue at hand is so big that I fail to understand the nearsightedness of my opposition right here. Good evening. AIDS. Let's talk about our own country. You have 1.2 million Americans with AIDS. A fifth are unaware of their status. They don't have a clue that they have AIDS. And every year you have 50,000 new cases that are found. AIDS is a pandemic, an outbreak present over a large area and is expanding at a rate which we have no means of controlling right now. Mr. Chadda, I admire this individual for having shown extreme courage, and he has beaten AIDS, and finally we have a solution that has been presented in front of us. This is a golden opportunity for mankind to find a solution for this disease once and for all, and to end mankind of this misery that it is being put through right now. I'm amazed that instead of understanding the psyche of a person who is inflicted with AIDS, the opposition wishes to think about the monetary incentives instead of understanding the basic point at hand, that is time. We do not have time. Time is of the essence. When millions are dying, you really want to wait? Do you think you can? Do you
think that SRDF could do the same with government funding and Indian expertise provided to them? That's how it was.
Let's look at the situation at hand. Right now, you have two parties that have simultaneously offered a solution. Let's look at the credentials of both. SRDF, it's a non-profit organization. Its incentives may be questioned. Okay, and don't forget, we must act in haste. You have millions of people who are dying, and yet you say you're willing to wait 50 years for such a cure. What is the guarantee that you'll even find a cure when you have an institution which has no credentials in that field? And why waste time when you have an opportunity to go to Kumar Corporation, a company that has traversed leaps and bounds?
Is there a guarantee that Kumar Pharmaceuticals, even with sophisticated machinery, would be able to produce the drug? For sure.
You look at both the options, and then the options we have are limited. If you have these two options, we have to work with these two options. When you look at these two options, it is very clear to understand. Kumar Corporation has traversed leaps and bounds in medical research. It is the best drug manufacturing company in the USA. It has even offered a generous sum to Chadda, and its medical research facilities are unmatched. Kumar Corporation definitely offers the better solution. Do you seriously want to trust SRDF, a new organization, a non-profit organization, and an organization against an organization which you know has better facilities? Now I'd like to move on to, now I'd like to elaborate on the Medicare program. If the opposition had listened carefully to what Mr. Prime Minister had said, the Medicare program was founded in 1965. It is a national social insurance program that already exists within the United States of America. It is administered by the US federal government. Right now, persons above 65 and under 80, and all persons who are affected with end-stage renal disease and Lou Gehrig's disease are currently covered under this program. What we plan to do is bring, once a cure for this, for AIDS has been found, we plan to cover all US citizens under this very program, thus eliminating a basic point of it being a high-cost alternative. We are providing you a solution. Right now, we are looking for a person who can find the solution in the fastest way possible. And that we believe is Kumar Corporation. Does the opposition seriously want to put another million lives at risk just for the sake of the United States being known as a goodwill country, a country that does goodwill? I don't believe that is how goodwill is measured. if the number of lives, the sheer number of lives you'll be saving if you find a cure in 5 years instead of finding it in 50 years will be immense. And I assure you the United States of America will be thanked for that, irrespective of the opinion of the opposition. Take me to an AIDS patient. He will tell you of the pain he's being put through. He will tell you of the social stigmas attached to it. He will tell you what life of discrimination he's leading right now. In fact, if you look at the bigger picture, even look at your country. Let's look at statistics have shown that the GDP of so many African countries have been affected because of the sheer lack of human capital. Do you want our country to reach such a stage? Are you willing to risk 50 years of our future in the search of a certain non-profit organization? So the Medicare program will bring everyone under who is suffering from HIV/AIDS under the Medicare program. What are the pros? What this Medicare program does is it spreads the financial risk across the society to protect everyone. Unlike say a private insurer which will take your money and then it will manage its own portfolio by adjusting the prices according to the perceived risks it sees. In 2010, Medicare offered its assistance to 48 million Americans. Are you really willing to gamble on this? Are you really willing to gamble on the lives of so many millions of people when you can find a solution right here? You say that we are the leaders of the world, but we believe that our country must be clean first, and it is only after that we move on. Did we have a war happening in our own country when we moved on to solve all the crises in Iraq? You always look towards yourself. Be the change that you want to see in the world. We can be the drivers of this change. Yet, it is the American which I am more concerned about than the other. And yet, can I accept one if I want to?
No, he can't actually ask for it if you want.
Alright, and the final point I'd like to make is the opposition seems to have questioned the efficiency of our own judicial system.
Yes, sir. Getting infected by human immunodeficiency virus, be it unprotected sex or infected blood transfusion, is the worst nightmare for many of us. A whooping 1.2 million of citizens of USA are infected with AIDS out of 34 million in the world. A little ray of hope has come in the form of Mr. Chadha, who by God's miracle has somehow obtained antibodies against HIV in his blood. But sorry Mr. Chadha, little would this contribution of yours count in the pages of history if you align yourself with Kumar Corporation. Adjudicators, Honorable Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and members of this debate. I sniff a scam, then the government proposes that Mr. Chadha must go to Kumar Pharmaceuticals. Scams are not unheard of in this world. And the government aligning with such a big pharmaceutical giant is certainly raising a few eyebrows. The way the Deputy PM was lobbying for Kumar Pharmaceuticals, the doubt must have increased exponentially. Furthermore, the government who was elected to take care of the poor is proving itself as lame-sitting ducks. Kumar Pharmaceuticals has outright declared that its product would be expensive. How expensive, we do not know. Do we know that, sir? I have heard about your hollow promise about Medicare Foundation. What about the poor patients abroad who might be suffering from AIDS? I think government proposes that they have no right to be cured and no right to live as such. United States is not the only country in this world, sir. It's not. So you might offer to get subsidies, but we all know the story of subsidies. Will a poor person be able to afford them? You all know the answer. One more point I'd like to add.
Excuse me, point of information. Do you have any substantial proof that you say that our subsidies are not reaching the poor? Yeah, I do.
I'm sure, sir, you must have heard about evergrading of patents. Don't you think Kumar Pharmaceuticals would be manipulating the law and monopolize the market and earn quick bucks? Social Relief from Disease Foundation, on the other hand, has promised for an affordable cure. The only downside, they may need more time for research of this drug. Why can't the government provide them the means for this research? Massive and sophisticated measures, they say. What are you here for anything, sir? If you cannot offer a basic research facility to some foundation that is offering to do this drug research for less amount than your Kumar Pharmaceuticals offer. Lastly, I want the House to know this the drug research is a complicated and unpredictable task. The patent for pharmaceutical even expires sometime before drug is fit to be released. Were you hoping that your much coveted Kumar Pharmaceuticals would start selling the drugs tomorrow? And patients would start thanking this messiah of a government for saving this life in the coming week? Thank you.
3 minutes.